Good evening, everyone. I'm Jane Pointer. On this edition of AZ Illustrated Science, genomic research is revolutionizing what we know about the body. Also, the therapeutic benefits of gardening, and fungi, how these denizens of detritus are both tasty and beneficial. But first, here's a look at today's top stories.
Officials with Saguaro National Park say 2 people have come forward and are cooperating with law enforcement following a second case of vandalism in the park. Earlier, the officials released the pictures of 2 men they called persons of interest in hopes of getting help identifying the men. The damage took place on Thursday night along the Douglas Spring Trail in the park's Rincon Mountain District. It was the second case of vandalism in the park this month. A 3-judge panel on the Arizona Court of Appeals unanimously ruled that a $25 background check fee charged to state prison visitors is constitutional. The fee was challenged by 2 people who were visitors at the prison and argued that it wasn't legal, but in a 9-page ruling, the court disagreed. The judges wrote that it is reasonable for the prison system to charge the one-time fee to cover the cost of doing background checks on people visiting inmates in state prisons. The background check fee went into effect in 2011. And an earthquake struck near Page, Arizona early this morning. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the tremor registered 2.7 on the Richter scale. That's a look at tonight's headlines.
The field of genomics is revolutionizing cancer and other types of research, opening a whole new realm of scientific exploration at the level of the molecule. Georgia Davis visited some genetic research labs to learn more about how genomics is both providing new tools for diagnosis and treating disease, and making doctors and researchers rethink what they know about genes and health.
What seems to be, on the outside at least, a peaceful retreat in the foothills of the Catalina Mountains is actually the site of some aggressive research into cancer. This is Ventana Medical Systems, a subsidiary of Roche. Inside its walls, scientists are working on the cutting edge of cancer research and using new tools that make it possible to study biology at a scale even smaller than the cell.
Fortunately, cervical cancer doesn't occur de novo, doesn't occur all of a sudden. It occurs over time in a stepwise series of events. And we can identify those events through this protein P16, and that's what we're doing.
Dr. Eric Walk is the Chief Medical Officer at Ventana Medical Systems. He oversees many research projects, including this one into a new lab test for detecting cervical cancer. For reasons that are still unknown, some women who are infected with the human papillomavirus, or HPV, develop cervical cancer. Researchers have discovered that a human protein called P16 is implicated in this process. Ventana's test, which is undergoing clinical trials in an attempt to get FDA approval, uses red and brown dyes to detect levels of P16.
In short, what P16 is, it's a marker of cervical precancer and really an indicator that HPV infection not only has occurred, but has caused the cervical cell to start to progress toward cancer.
This study is part of an emerging field of genomic research. This research works at the scale of the molecule and includes the study of genes and gene components such as DNA, RNA, and chromosomes. The objects of study may be minute in size, but the potential impacts of genomic research are beyond measure.
It opens a window of understanding about evolution, about disease, about health, about the species that are out there that we didn't even have an opportunity before to understand.
Genomes and their components provide templates for life itself. But do those templates actually determine life and what it looks like? Increasingly, the answer scientists give to that question is no.
Even the most mechanical of genomic researchers are increasingly more acknowledging that this is not something already written in the wall and that there's predetermination of who we are. Yes, the template is there. We have to acknowledge that. But there's also a lot that can be worked around that template.
Consider, for example, the field of epigenetics, which is concerned with understanding why identical DNA can act in different ways. Also, genes can mutate. As cervical cancer demonstrates, viral and human proteins combine, creating something that is both human and microbe. Twins, too, provide another intriguing case study of the complexity of doing genomic research.
We all have the experience that are extremely impressed by how similar identical twins are. I'm more impressed knowing that their genome is exactly identical, how absolutely different they are. Because if everything were written in the genome, they should be completely identical. They should move in the same way. They should think in the same way. Anybody who knows identical twins knows that that is not the case.
So just as the ability to study genomics is revolutionizing science, it is destabilizing older ideas that the gene is the software of life. Genomic scientists who are trained to look for simple linear explanations are having to instead embrace complexity.
The genomics era has brought new opportunities, but also it's daunting in a way, because the more we learn about our own genomes and cancer genomes, the more we realize how fantastically complex cancer is. So while we used to think of, for example, breast cancer as a single disease, we now know that that's far from the truth. At the molecular level, we might have a dozen or even 20 different diseases, meaning that 20 different types of breast cancer that at the clinical level look the same, but at the molecular level are driven by very different signaling pathways, different molecular changes, different mutations.
Just as molecular differences can have profound implications, it is important to also think outside the gene.
One of the most important things with genomic health is that, genetics are only one piece of the picture. Genetics do put us at increased risk for certain conditions. They do determine quite a few things in our bodies and how we're made up and how we're going to develop, but they're not the end all. There's many other factors as far as our environment, our lifestyle, other things we're exposed to that also come into that picture.
Gail Martino is something called a genetic counselor. This is not a new profession, but it is a growing field as both doctors and patients look to people like Martino to help them address complicated questions arising because of genetic research. One thing a genetic counselor may do, for example, is help a patient determine when it is appropriate to have a genetic test done.
For instance, I may have a patient come in who's currently pregnant. During a pregnancy may not be the best time to find out that you're at increased risk for breast cancer, and also knowing that many times we're telling them about their risk, but also as a risk for their children.
Genetic profiling is bringing about a new era in healthcare as patients who are otherwise healthy find out they are at risk for various conditions, some of which are fatal. Now it is possible to be at once healthy and at risk for disease.
For instance, if we have patients that test positive for a BRCA gene, BRCA1 or BRCA2, we know that they're at increased risk for breast cancer. They can take steps to reduce that breast cancer risk, either through screening and surveillance, or they can do preventative surgeries, take certain medications, so they can take a very active role in trying to reduce their risk.
Because of the potential physical and psychological toll having a positive result can bring, Martino does not advise that everyone undergo genetic testing, especially since people cannot change their genomic makeup. Also, testing can be costly.
Some insurances cover the testing, some insurances don't, so it could be a financial burden for the patients, or it could be a concern about discrimination. Some patients are worried that either they'll get discriminated via health insurance or life insurance or other disability insurances.
And this is all based on risk factors. Even a positive test cannot 100% predict what will happen in the future. Genomic research is transformative. It is changing what it means to be healthy, how life is understood, and how science is practiced. At the same time, it is raising new and difficult moral questions about practices such as genetically modified crops, cloning, and patenting of human tissues. These are highly contested issues, and no one can predict how they will be resolved or what new issues will arise in the future. What is becoming increasingly clear, however, is that what we do know about the genome and its implications for life pales in comparison to what we do not know.
A body of literature, which suggests that digging in the dirt can heal the brain as well as the body, is growing. Now Gisela Tellis takes us to Thornydale Ranch, a local mental health and substance abuse treatment facility that is putting garden-based therapy into practice.
When we had the indoor group the other day.
People come to Thornydale Ranch to find peace. Since 2003, the ranch has been a temporary home for people living with mental health and substance abuse disorders who are rebuilding their lives. They stay for up to 6 months and spend their days learning independent living skills and tending to the horses and livestock that rely on them here. But now they've found a new way to heal, one that requires a little digging beneath the surface.
When I started here, there was no garden. But I could see that out at the barn, somebody had tried to grow some corn or something once. There was a little frame with railroad ties, and I just thought it was a possibility that we could have a garden. And then some of the clients or residents here, I prefer to call them residents rather than clients, but they said, can we have a garden? So we just started, like on a Sunday when it was kind of a free day and we had free time, we'd go out and try to plant something.
From that simple start, recovery support specialist George Storm and Thornydale's residents have grown their garden into a landmark.
But we can actually use the pot for scale.
It's 73 feet long, 23 feet wide, and an occasional source of wonder.
Most people are amazed by it when they see it in bloom. Some people have actually responded that the garden can lower their stress, or I really feel good when I'm out here. I don't feel my symptoms when I'm out here. I feel free. Or somebody else might just respond and say, it's fun. So it's as varied as the people we have here.
La Frontera, the Tucson-based nonprofit behavioral health agency that owns and operates Thornydale Ranch, has since developed 2 other gardens for its clients. Along with a growing number of care providers and recovery programs across the country, La Frontera has embraced garden-based or horticultural therapy as a tool for recovery. In part, that's because clients have asked for it. But it's also because gardens seem to work. There's mounting evidence that plants and natural landscapes help keep people physically and mentally healthy.
You remember how to fill up the water?
Yes.
We get to take that water can and... I think gardening is really, it empowers people. When people come into treatment, typically it's not on their best day. Want to save a little bit for the asparagus. It gives people a little bit of autonomy, control over their own environment, where they can pick and choose and make decisions for themselves without being in a structured, formal group. So they can make their own decisions. They can make up their mind, hey, I want to plant this here, and it can be very fun. It can be challenging. It can also be physical. It can also be vocational. So now we could plant it in the ground.
Yeah, good, George?
Yeah, it looks fine. We can actually pull these edges back a little bit more now that it's in the ground. We can fold them back. And that's an organic pot, so it's not going to hurt it if it sticks up or gets in the way or something. Just be gentle. It's okay. You're not going to hurt it. It'll survive.
Storm teaches the less experienced gardeners how to choose, plant, and care for their seedlings, and he helps them harvest the fruits of their labor.
We'll probably put him right in between.
For him, helping residents care for the garden is a way of circling back to his roots.
If it's going to freeze, we might cover it.
Storm grew up on a ranch, raising animals and tending plants.
It could get cold.
But for Thornydale resident Jeffrey Burns, the garden has been a doorway into a brand new, gentler world.
That's a good guess. We don't have to be perfect.
Well, it's definitely taught me patience. Before I was really impatient. It taught me patience and taught me to be gentle. Because I do stuff rough. I don't do jail stuff. And I'm surprised I'm not in jail, prison, or dead. To be honest, I've lived a rough life, and I grew up around drugs and everything my whole life, so it came natural to me to use them.
Thornydale resident Alberto Martinez is new to but he says his time with the plants has already made an impact.
I think it's relaxing, and it's a good thing to know how to garden, how to plant something. How you water your seeds is how the plant is going to grow. So you got to teach your kids good from the start, so that way they'll grow up to be a good person. that's what I'm working on right now, so I can achieve my goals and live a good life.
Burns and Martinez won't get to harvest everything they've planted. Like all other Thornydale residents, they will eventually return to their lives. But the garden will remain, waiting to welcome a new community of gardeners. It's a testament, Storm says, to the legacy people can build even in their darkest days.
And we've got open spots over there. The fact that these clients have built this garden themselves, so there's a lot of empowerment in that. From the ground up, we had a bare ground two and a half years ago, and now we really have an impressive garden. Okay. So we'll close the gate, make sure the rabbits don't get in.
Chinese hackers reportedly gained access to classified designs of some of the U.S. military's most important weapon systems.
We examined China's hacking capabilities and what the breach means for U.S. security.
Then, as President Obama tours New Jersey's shore for an update on recovery from Hurricane Sandy, Judy Woodruff explores the progress that's been made and what still needs to be done.
Miles O'Brien visits the nation's most active explosives testing facility, home to the forensics team examining the inner workings of the bombs used at the Boston Marathon.
Even though you have a detonation, all of the pieces are still there. With enough time and enough diligence, you could actually probably put the entire pressure cooker back together.
We take a closer look at the Interstate 5 bridge collapse in Washington State and what it says about problems plaguing the nation's infrastructure.
And Margaret Warner talks to Richard Haas about why he believes American foreign policy should start at home.
That's all ahead on tonight's NewsHour.
The international community is considering arming the rebels in Syria, but residents of the capital, Damascus, have little love for the revolution.
I'm with any revolution which changes for better, for the democracy. But I do not agree with any revolution who will destroy the country.
NPR's Steve Inskeep reports from Damascus on the next morning edition from NPR News.
Joining me now in the studio are Dr. Clarke Romans and Rebecca Garfunkel with the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Thank you for coming in today. Mental illness is really such a hot topic at the moment in the media. What are your thoughts on the gun control and where this all fits in that conversation?
Well, I often believe that it's terrific when the media get in touch with us. I'm delighted to talk to them. I'm not always so happy why they're getting in touch with me. Because often the focus is on things that aren't really the fundamental issue.
And what do you consider to be the fundamental issue?
The fundamental issue is people with mental illness not receiving the services that they need, and individuals and their family members and loved ones being afraid or ashamed to get the help that they need. So it's all about awareness and removing the stigma so that we can talk about this biological brain disorder like any other illness.
And I understand that you've actually had personal experience with this.
Yes, I have. Like most people in NAMI, I'm involved because of a personal connection. My son Kenneth was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when he was 16 years old in 1979.
So how have your thoughts changed between, before that and afterwards, having to deal with it, and now about the whole situation with mental illness?
Well, I mean, over 30 years has seen a lot of changes in this area. But I mean, like most people, when my son was diagnosed, I was well educated, I was well paid, I was well informed, but I knew nothing about mental illness. I couldn't even spell schizophrenia, let alone have any idea on the lifelong impact that illness would have on Kenneth and our family.
So what should our viewers know about mental illness? If there was one thing you really wanted them to know, what would that be?
That mental illnesses are illnesses like any other. They're treatable. People can live with them, and that they should seek treatment you know, when they see any indication of it. Unfortunately, the stigma that exists often impedes people's willingness to admit to themselves that they have these disorders, their families to admit it, and then to overcome that and seek the help they need.
So how do we know if we have a mental illness? It seems to be such a gray area, a fuzzy area for so many of us that don't know anything about it.
Well, I think it's a common sense answer, really. It's, do the things that you're feeling or the emotions you have or the thoughts that you have, do they disrupt and interfere with your normal daily functioning? If they do, like any illness, if you have a sore throat, you take an antibiotic to get rid of it because it's not pleasant. If you have a stomach upset, you do the same. A headache, you take an aspirin or something else. If your emotions are out of control, you go into rages or you feel that everybody's attacking you, that's not normal and you can get help for it.
And how easy is it to diagnose these illnesses? Is that straightforward?
Not easy.
It's not easy. It also depends if you have healthcare insurance. Oftentimes, I would say the majority of healthcare insurances do not cover mental health services, so they can't pay to see a psychiatrist, for example. If you do have to see a psychiatrist, sometimes it can be $95 per visit.
And NAMI, what's NAMI's role in this area?
Well, NAMI is a national organization, and we do three fundamental things. We do education, we do support, and we do advocacy. So we don't provide any direct services, but there are both public and private mental health services in the community that are available. So if you're someone who's, let's say, unemployed, or your family doesn't have the financial resources to seek the help that Rebecca mentioned, you can enroll in the public mental health system, the funding of which is variable depending on the whim of the legislature.
And in the last minute we have, I understand that you have an event that you do.
Yes, we have our 7th annual NAMI Walk, which is a community walk for mental illness awareness. It's to take place on Saturday, April 6th at Keno Veterans Memorial Stadium. And we expect about 4,500 participants this year. And our walk is the largest awareness campaign regarding mental illness. And we encourage those who are affected and even those who want to know more about mental illness to join us for this walk.
And it brings families together.
It brings families together. Yes, it does.
Thank you so very much for coming in the studio today and talking with us about it.
Thank you.
Of course, we're all familiar with mushrooms, probably sautéed in a little butter and garlic. But fungi do more than top a salad or sirloin. They're involved, of course, in many of our modern prescription drugs. They're also important for food preservation and preparation and are critical to the environment. Here to talk about working fungi is plant sciences professor and mushroom connoisseur, Barry Pryor. Mushroom connoisseur, I love it. And you have brought a plethora of things for us to see.
Well, great. I hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit about mushrooms and how we interact with mushrooms.
All right, so I think many of us would be surprised at the breadth of usages for mushrooms in our food.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what you brought in here?
Well, humans have been eating mushrooms and using mushrooms to modify their food products for thousands of years. And perhaps one of the first uses of mushrooms was in fermentation processes to preserve our fruit juices and our grain beverages, and also to make our bread, to leaven our bread, make it fluffy.
I see. Now, I see there's some other things here that go with the bread.
Well, we've been, as I mentioned, we use fungi to preserve our food, and we use fungi in many different ways. For example, we have here some salami, and salami is made with using bacterial and a fungal fermentation. We start by incorporating bacteria into the meat, which let it ferment in the meat, and it acidifies the meat. And once it's done acidifying the meat, then we place that product into a casing and then spray the outside of the casing with a fungus. And the fungus will start drawing the water out from the meat and helping preserve it, help dry it, and also to impart some flavors to the meat. And we do the same things with certain cheeses. For example, we have our brie cheese, and brie is made in exactly the same way. We add a bacterium to acidify the cheese, and then once the bacteria has acidified the cheese, we add a fungus to the outside to start drawing away some of the moisture and create a protective barrier on the outside of the cheese.
So you're telling me that all this yummy looking white stuff on the outside of the salami is actually fungus?
That's right. That's right.
Why not?
And we use the fungi to impart all kinds of flavors into our food too. For example, when we use our blue cheese, the blue that you see in blue cheese is in fact fungus, and it imparts a very unique flavor to Roquefort cheese, which some people find very pleasing and some people find a bit strong.
I think it's yummy. Where's the wine?
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Wine is also a fermentation product made by yeast, and of course yeast are fungi. So if we had a bottle of wine here, we'd have a perfect lunch, all with fungal modified foods.
So what about these? What have you brought here?
Okay, so my lab right now, we're interested in growing mushrooms as a means of recycling common landscape wastes and consumer waste, and particularly on college campuses. Most college campuses are interested in reducing waste and recycling their waste and becoming more green. Well, we're going to use fungi to help us achieve that goal at University of Arizona.
So you're going to take all of that waste and turn it into food?
Well, there's two types of waste in particular we're targeting. Mesquite beans, because we know we have many mesquite beans all over Arizona, and the University of Arizona has perhaps 800 mesquite trees around campus. Each tree probably produces over 100 pounds of mesquite pods every year. These mesquite pods fall to the ground. They have to be raked up, taken out to our landfills where they'll decompose there. Well, we're going to use some of these mesquite pods to grow mushrooms. And then after we grow mushrooms on these mesquite pods, we'll be able to use those pods, which are now broken down further, and we'll take those out to compost piles instead of the landfills and use them to fertilize our gardens.
And what about pizza boxes?
Well, that's another product, recycling product we're interested in using fungi for. We know that university campuses generate a lot of consumer waste, coffee grounds, for example, pizza boxes, for example, and we hope to use mushrooms to help recycle these consumer wastes, grow a gourmet product, a delicious, nutritious gourmet product, and then these products will be able to move into the composting cycle and then be returned to our gardens as fertilizer.
And I also understand you have a mushroom shed?
That's right. Part of our program in using mushrooms for recycling is to do research, is to educate, and to recycle. So we're collaborating with the Tucson Village Farms, which is an educational component of the cooperative extension, and we're building a mushroom shed out there where we're going to take many of our bags of substrate for growing mushrooms, and we're going to put them in the shed, and we're going to grow our mushrooms out there on the farm, and they will use this shed as part of their educational program.
And we can go see it?
You can go see it. We'll be filling up the shed with bags of mesquite pods or coffee grounds or pizza boxes and growing beautiful gourmet mushrooms on them.
How fabulous. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
That's our show. To post a comment on any of these stories or to keep up with the latest news, go online to our website at azpm.org. I'm Jane Pointer. Thanks for watching.